Today's report from the Levin committee connecting the dots, showing how top Bush administration officials pressured subordinates to seek authorization for torture, then pressured the legal establishment to justify that torture. Republicans are running scared. Our number one story tonight, the GOP mans the barricades, trying to diffuse mounting pressure for answers and accountability, discrediting the critics, forgetting, of course, all the Republican dissenters within the Bush administration who had tried to stop this. Senator McCain today arguing that prosecuting the torture authorizers would have negative effects on the candor of official advice. In fact, it would empower officials to resist future attempts to shape their advice. Senator Specter today saying, quote, going after the prior administration sounds like something they do in Latin America, in banana republics, loyally reading from the memo that Karl Rove sent out last night on Fox.
What the Obama administration has done in the last several days is very dangerous. What they've essentially said is, if we have policy disagreements with our predecessors, what we're going to do is we're going to turn ourselves into the moral equivalent of a Latin American country run by colonels in mirrored sunglasses.
Meanwhile, Congressman Dana Rohrabacher today pushing Dick Cheney's storyline that still secret memos will now exonerate the Bush administration.
And he says there are there are several specific documents that are being kept classified by the administration that would show that any time there was a problem, people tried to correct it. Are you in favor of releasing the documents that Dick Cheney has been requesting be released?
Well, it won't surprise you that I don't consider him a particularly reliable source of information.
With us now, MSNBC political analyst Howard Fineman, also, of course, senior Washington correspondent and political columnist for Newsweek magazine. Howard, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
Let me start not with the backlash from the Republicans, but inside the Obama administration. Where are they going on this? Do they know where they're going on this? Are they in charge anymore of where they're going on this?
Not entirely, Keith. I was at a background briefing today over at the White House with a senior administration official. I think they're feeling a little bit besieged for this reason. Torture and waterboarding was torture is illegal under U.S. law and international treaty. The president has said that he doesn't want to prosecute agents who were following the legal advice that came out of the Justice Department during the Bush administration. But all the rest of it's kind of up in the air. Will they look at those legal advisors who wrote those opinions? Will they look at the administration officials who ordered those opinions to be written? Eric Holder, the Attorney General, may look. A commission may look. Congress may look. The White House, to some extent, has lost control of it, in part because Barack Obama ran waving a moral flag, holding up a moral standard that helped launch his candidacy. He can't just furl that flag now and say, let bygones be bygones. There are too many people within his own party who are insisting that more be done, and to some extent the administration has lost control of it.
Yeah, morals are not supposed to stop because it's politically inconvenient to continue them.
Exactly.
On the other side of this equation, the GOP talking point here, this notion that democracies let criminals from past administrations get away with whatever they did criminally. Do you think Mr. Rove or Senator Specter were unaware that just this month, first time in history, democratically elected president of a Latin American nation, Alberto Fujimori of Peru, sentenced to 25 years in prison for human rights abuses? I mean, do either Mr. Rove or the senator know that right now, at least on this subject, they're ahead of us in Latin America?
Well, you don't need Peru to know who was wearing the sunglasses and, who was behaving like a banana republic, at least based on what we know as of today, Keith. Just think about what you've reported so far tonight. It's quite possible, at least the plausible case can be made, that torture techniques were used in violation of U.S. law and international treaty to try to exact false confessions out of people, to get false evidence to justify an unjustifiable war that was against the American grain and a preemptive war in violation of international law. If that's true, if all those dots are connected, who was behaving like a banana republic? Eric Holder and Barack Obama, or Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld? Not at all. I don't think it's a close question if those facts are correct.
Yeah, it's a rhetorical question, but you can give an answer to it. The idea, though, that, again, the GOP talking point is about banana republics and stifling candor from government lawyers in the future. The Republicans have never been reluctant to play this as Republicans right, Democrats equal death. Why are they not playing it this way now?
Well, it's very interesting because they want to try to argue it on some kind of higher plane if they can. They don't want to be seen as the party defending the indefensible, which is the use of what everybody now concedes was a torture technique. They don't want to turn that into a purely partisan thing. They would rather do this more in sorrow than in partisan anger, saying we don't want to compromise the role of the CIA. You know, we don't want to invade the precincts of lawyers who are trying to do honest work. They're trying to talk about any other context besides a purely political one because it's a losing issue for them.
But lastly, if there is pressure building up on the Obama administration to just do the right thing and let the chips fall where they may politically, at some point that pressure must be felt by the GOP. What happens then?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see which Republicans defend Cheney and Rumsfeld and former President Bush in the end or not. I think it's going to end up being a hugely divisive thing within the Republican Party. George Bush may get a pass by virtue of his own obliviousness, if nothing else. My sense is that Cheney and Rumsfeld are going to be the division points here. As we head into the 2010 election, as we head toward the Republican presidential race, who's going to defend Cheney and Rumsfeld and who isn't? Right now, Karl Rove is defending him. Newt Gingrich is defending him. Cheney's defending himself. I think the silence is fairly thundering among other potential leaders of the Republican Party.
Fascinating if that becomes a key issue next year. Howard Fineman of Newsweek and MSNBC. As always, Howard, great thanks.
Thank you, Keith.
That is Countdown for this, the 2,174th day since the previous president declared mission accomplished in Iraq, and what a day it was. I'm Keith Olbermann. Good night and good luck.